This video may contain language inappropriate for children. No, what the fuck am I kidding? You're gonna watch it anyways.
What up, Manachas? I'm here to give my opinion of the just announced Xbox. And as you can see in the background, there's some Grand Theft Auto Battle the Gate Tony running in the background. In this gameplay, I'm just basically running around, making some Ryan, and having some fun. I just felt like putting that in the background. Now, first of all, let's talk about the name. No one really expected it to be named the Xbox One. You know, most people were guessing like maybe 720, maybe Infinity. Whatever you were guessing, you were most likely wrong. It's actually the Xbox One. The interesting thing about the name is it's supposed to represent what the console really does. And the console is more of a media device than a gaming console because it has all kinds of things like TV, streaming, music, and also gaming, obviously. But it's much more just a media device than an actual console. And don't get me wrong, it's obviously doing the console part really, really well. But it's just that it seems like they're making something that's supposed to do everything, like you're all in one device. And I really like that. If there's something I really want to do, it's get rid of a lot of boxes and cables and all of that and just have one box that does pretty much everything. And I'll talk more about that later on, but let's start talking about the design and hardware. Now, I'm not all that interested in the hardware. I'll leave the specifications in the description below in case you're wondering. But honestly, when it comes to console, I really don't care that much about hardware because they're going to be games made for that platform, and the games are going to be running on that platform. So I don't really care that much about the hardware. It's going to be what it's going to be. The games are going to be there, and they're going to run like they were supposed to run. So not really that interested about the hardware. But let's take a look at the design. I'll leave some pictures in the description below. Now, the Xbox itself, it looks okay. I'm not terribly excited about the design, but I'm happy they did at least show it. And it looks a bit like kind of like an 80s VCR. A new thing they also showed off was the new Kinect, the Kinect 2.0, which will come with every single Xbox apparently. And it has been greatly improved. It's now 1080p and it's capable of reading way more details, and it can even read like where you're putting your weight when you're like, for instance, doing balancing stuff. And it's just far more accurate. It can do a lot more things. The design is pretty similar to the actual Xbox. They're going for pretty much the exact same design, which is very square, very boxy, but also pretty shiny. And it's an okay design. Not something that gets me really all that excited, but it's okay. Another thing that has also been greatly improved with the new Kinect is speech recognition. So it's a lot better apparently to understand what you're saying and basically just do what you want it to do when you're telling it to, for instance, switch channel or switch to gaming and all of that. And I'll talk more about that later on, switching between different things, because that's also a thing that it does incredibly quickly and very well. It's also now capable of recognizing which way your hands are rotated, so that's pretty cool too. And you can also apparently stand closer to it now than you could before. So if you have a small room, that should work out a lot better than it used to before. And they also showed off the new controller, which looks incredibly big. And they mentioned that they have been working a lot with the ergonomics to make it fit more hands. Basically, if you have a small hand, it should fit your hand pretty well. If you have a big hand, it should still fit your hand pretty well. Don't really know how well that actually works. You kind of have to like try it yourself. But it's interesting that they tried to, improve the ergonomics even more, even though the Xbox 360 controller is probably the best controller released so far. And they've also improved the trigger buttons, which the trigger buttons were already good. If they're really even better, then that's really great. One thing that I'm really happy that they improved on that controller is that they finally improved the D-pad. If there's one thing that pissed me off with the 360 controller, it was the D-pad. It was absolutely terrible. It was so annoying. You accidentally hit it and you did something you didn't really want to do. It was just really, really annoying. Nothing that happened all the time, obviously, but it happened more often than it should, and the design of the D-pad was just overall not good. Now back to the media thing. Now we were talking about that it would be able to use both TV, streaming, music, gaming, all of that stuff. Now the interesting thing that they did is that it seems like they have three so-called software cores, which are apparently basically three OSs for their separate things. So you have one OS that, for instance, takes gaming, then you have one for maybe like video and TV, and one for music. So that's really apparently the reason why they can switch so quickly between these different things. You can, for instance, be watching TV and just say Xbox, play game, and it automatically just switches instantly to your game. And that's pretty awesome. You can like just play a game, and then maybe you want to watch some TV, or maybe you're watching TV and you just want to play a game, and you can just say that to your Xbox, and it'll immediately just jump over to the gaming part. And that's really what tells this to me. Like you can do one thing and then instantly just switch to the other one. And I think that might help Microsoft sell more Xboxes is that this is not just a gaming console. This is not just a console or a machine made simply for people that play games. This is a multimedia device. A lot of people might just buy it because it's a great multimedia device and they want one box to do everything. And then maybe they start playing some games or try some gaming and maybe get more into it, or they just use the box for those different services. So they're not just selling it as, a gaming console, they're selling it as a multimedia machine that can do a lot of different things and hit a broader market than, for instance, the Sony PlayStation 4 or the Nintendo Wii U. And you might say that, PCs have been doing that for years, but the thing is, PCs, if you're going to have a gaming PC, it's going to be really big, it's most likely going to be pretty loud, and you're not going to have it in your living room. And that's the good thing about the Xbox, that it's going to be in your living room, or maybe, well, some people have it in their bedrooms, but it could be in your living room, and it can be this media center hub that everyone can use just by using their voice. You don't even have to look for the controller. I'm not quite certain if I'm gonna like be talking to my Xbox. I don't know. I'll try it and see if I like it. I'm not, completely sold by that yet, but it seems like a cool thing to do at least. And it seems like that's kind of the view that Microsoft has now, that a gaming console shouldn't simply be a gaming console, it should be a media center for your living room. And that's probably also the reason why they didn't show that many games. And honestly, I didn't really care that much about the fact that they didn't show that many games, because there are going to be a lot of games coming out, and that both PlayStation 4 and Xbox One will be able to run the exact same games, except for the exclusives, obviously. But they will be able to run them, and they'll be able to run them at perfectly good graphics. You're obviously not going to see, the full potential of these consoles yet, because there aren't any games capable of doing that yet. Just like with any other console generation, it takes time to, push the boundaries of what the console can do in terms of software. So, honestly, I wasn't too worried about that. And if you were worrying about, exclusive games and all that, Microsoft has said that there will be around 15 exclusive games released for the Xbox One within the first year, and that's quite a lot of games. It's apparently the biggest launch of games that they've ever had on any console. So just because they didn't show a lot of games doesn't mean that they're not actually, focusing on it. It's just that during the presentation, they kind of wanted to show people what innovative things they had done, what more they had done than just simply giving you better hardware, more powerful processors and GPUs and everything. Because we all knew that. We all knew that it was going to be more powerful. We all knew that it was going to be able to run the really beautiful games that are coming. We all knew that, and we have E3 coming, which they're probably going to show off a lot of new exclusive games there. So we'll find out about those games later on. I'm just happy that we got to know about all these features and what really separates the Xbox from the competition. Now, one of the reasons why I chose Xbox in the first place when I bought an Xbox 360 was mainly because of the online service. I did not have any problems paying for a service that was as good as it is when that's the only service you can get. Now, they are focusing on making that service even better. Now, when not the original Xbox, but the Xbox 360 was released or launched, it had 15,000 servers, running the Xbox Live service. Now, with the new Xbox, the Xbox One, it'll have 300,000 servers. That's a lot of machine power. And that's incredible. That's just a release. It's an incredible upgrade. And hopefully that will, reduce lag a lot and just make an online experience so much better. And they have been talking about like the Xbox Live service getting even more expensive because of all these different services. But if it's going to improve that much, I mean, I'm not a fan of paying for an online service, but if that's what I have to do to get an online service that's hopefully going to be as good as it's going to be, heck, I'll pay for it. I have no problems paying for it because it's the only online service I can get on that platform. And it seems to be at least seems to me that it's going to be absolutely great. Another interesting thing with the online services is that you're now supposed to be able to record gameplay and save it in the cloud. You're supposed to record it with a DVR or whatever, which is supposed to be built into the console, and then you can store it in the cloud. So you can actually record it without an Elgato or anything like that, just like you can on the PlayStation 4. And it'll be set on the clouds. You don't have to worry about it being stored on that 5 GB hard drive, because that's not the biggest hard drive in the world, but it's okay for, installing games or console games. But at least you're going to be able to store it in the clouds. Maybe you have to buy some more cloud storage. I don't know yet. They haven't said anything about that, but you probably do. I'll probably still use the Elgato because I like the software. But for the people that can't afford an Elgato, then yeah, you can just go ahead and record it, store it in the clouds, and upload it to YouTube if you want to do that. And that seems like a great thing that's going to be good for a lot of people that want to make YouTube videos but maybe can't afford an Elgato or an HD PVR. And they're also introducing dynamic achievements, which are supposed to change based on how you play, basically. Like, say you're, for instance, playing Grand Theft Auto 5. As we know, in Grand Theft Auto 5, with the different characters, there are different ways you can solve the actual mission. So apparently, the different ways you'll solve the mission will earn you different achievements. So it's more dynamic. It's not like an achievement because you killed so and so many people or you successfully did that in that mission. It's more dynamic than that, and you're kind of getting rewarded more for the way you solve games. And I'm not a big achievement whore or whatever you want to call it, but I think that's pretty interesting. I like the fact that it's becoming more dynamic and rewarding you for the way you play, because that's what makes games interesting. You can solve it the way you want, you can make the story sort of the way you want by how you solve things, and being rewarded for that sounds really, really great. And now for one of the not so good parts about the Xbox One. It's not confirmed yet, but you might have to, or you might be forced to install your games onto the hard disk drive. And if you want to bring that game to one of your friends, you're probably going to have to pay for it again to play it on a different console. And honestly, I'm not too excited about that. If I buy a game, I want to be able to bring it to one of my friends and maybe play split screen or whatever. I don't want to have to pay for it again just to play it on a different console. Nothing confirmed there yet, but that seems like a really, really bad thing, and I really hope they don't do that. Anyways, that's about it for this video, and this was basically my opinion. I'm pretty excited about the new Xbox, but I'm not completely sold yet. We'll see some more exclusives and different games and find more about these consoles later on. But I think I might go with an Xbox just because of the Xbox Live service and the fact that there are going to be a lot of features within it, like it can be one media center thing. I'm not quite sure yet, but I'll have to see. Maybe I'll choose it, maybe I'll go with the PlayStation. If you have made up your mind or you're still wondering, you can leave that in the comment section below. I really want to know what you guys are interested in, and maybe you guys have some good tips as to which one I should choose. But yeah, that's about it for this video, and I'll see you guys later. And as always, you can hit the thumbs up button down below if you liked it, and if you didn't like it, you can still hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, links to all that will be in the description below. And I'll see you guys later.